So I'm thinking about Robert Thrash right now, 29-year-old Robert Thrash. Because 29-year-old Robert Thrash actually stood up and did some police action, went after a person that had a warrant out for his arrest. The guy had a warrant out for his arrest, and I want to say he's a bondsman probably for his case. So he had a warrant out for his arrest. He's a bondsman for that guy's case. And he has got arrested for second-degree murder and first-degree burglary because he had to shoot the guy, Phil Lucero. So Robert Thrash and one of his associates goes to some address in Alamosa to effectuate a warrant. You have a warrant out for your arrest. Let's see if he's over at the address that he says that he is at. So it's quite incredible when you think about Molley Henlee versus Robert Thrash. Molley Henlee, she's a 25-year-old woman who is a police officer. She goes into a situation, gets shot, and is, celebrated rightfully so as a hero. They eventually arrest the person. She's flown into a hospital, gets a bar in her leg, and then she's probably going to get a pension for quite some time for the next 5 years. She's not going to be able to walk or run, the way that she had done before. And rightfully so. We're giving her all the accolades. She went into a situation that had nothing to do with her at all. She had 911 was called. She goes to the situation. And then she got shot trying to deal with your all's damn problems. That's the same thing with Robert Thrash. The question you have to ask with Robert Thrash, they've charged him with second-degree murder, which is knowingly versus deliberative. So did he knowingly shoot the guy? Probably. And, self-defense, I don't even know if you could say kind of self-defense at the moment. But I think the best case or the best defense is that it was a police action. It was a legitimate private police action. And if the police think that police action by private persons is wrong, well, then they need to go effectuate all the warrants that they got. You got a warrant out for people's arrest, and you're just going to let them sit right on over there. You know that they got a warrant for their arrest, and that with the Dan McDonald's, Samantha, and Zanis, didn't they have a warrant out for their arrest for how long? For how long did they have a warrant? And then this is also a bench warrant. So does the judge respect his own warrants? And also, what did Phil Lucero do? Too many times it seems like cops absolutely hate it when you do their job for them. So if there's some, terrorist in the neighborhood and you put a stop to it, Johnny Hurley, they'll pop you. They'll shoot you. They did the same thing with Johnny Hurley up in Arvada. They did the same thing with Kentucky Anonymous. Kentucky Anonymous busted those football players in Steubenville. Those high school football players had raped. And Kentucky Anonymous busted him, but, he used computer tricks, and guess who's arresting Kentucky Anonymous? And then Thunder. Thunder was a guy who saved his woman over there. Somebody held his woman in the guy's house. What's he supposed to do? Call the police and wait several hours for them to finally show up and then just put their thumbs up their butts? We don't need that kind of police in Danny Sanchez. We need actual police officers that will stand up and, yeah, right, you're not, that you say he, yeah, right, we don't need that. There's a situation that's going down. The woman told Thunder, I need your help right now. Unfortunately, in 1984, we see that torture worked. Torture works. And for the police, just to be on the safe side, I could understand them if they just arrest everybody at the scene just to make sure. But if the system is to be fair, Robert Thrash should be released as soon as possible, and the charges should be dismissed as soon as possible. Because he was effectuating a police action. He didn't want to have to deal with this dumb shit. The person said put up this money for a bond, so they thought they were going to go to court or else he's going to lose that bond. So it makes no sense for cops to hate private persons when they do a police action. There was a car thief. Somebody stole a car in the North SLV. There's Delmont, Monte Vista. They were kind of driving all over the place. Center, Colorado. But the guy stole the car, and the person who had witnessed him steal the car got into his truck and was following him, was called 911 at the same time, and followed him as far as he could possibly follow him until he couldn't anymore. But had that man not called and done a private police action, that guy would have stole his car and then drove off, and they would have came and started harassing him. Oh yeah, where's he at? Yeah, I don't see nobody stealing a car. Oh, he did it an hour ago. You got here an hour later. But because he got in his truck and he says, I'm following him right now. No, I'm in pursuit right now. Now the police, you force the police's hands to pick up the slack and actually do their damn jobs. Again, Robert Thrash was doing their damn jobs for them. They hate that. Johnny Henlee saved the day. Kentucky Anonymous saved the day. Thunder saved the day. Same thing with Tecumseh. Same thing with my warning shots. That piece of shit was driving up and down like a fucking obnoxious fucking dick. And that one piece of shit, he got a red Jeep. I've seen a red Jeep around here. There's no fucking way. Is that possible? The right-wing sovereign movement. I fired warning shots at somebody, and then Tecumseh went to go play with the person that was sitting there who's going to murder him. Those are both legitimate police actions. They were both legitimate police actions. Just what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Molley Henlee was a police officer. She's a woman, and she's a police officer. So she goes to a situation, and she gets shot, and she's treated like the hero that she absolutely is. She's got, she's double vouched, right? She's vouched once, vouched twice, triple vouched. So you're a police officer. You're a citizen. Police officer means that a police chief or a sheriff hired you, right? Also, probably that post, right? All the post standard stuff, too. So you have some legitimate authority. In Colorado, since private persons are allowed to make arrests, we all have legitimate authority to arrest a person when we see the crime, if we witness the crime for ourselves. So the crime did not go to court. Did you witness it? Yeah, he wasn't there. Right? That's a bench one. He didn't show up for court. I don't know what the original, sometimes it is kind of, the guy was shot and dead, so RIP to Phil Lucero. If he was just, some jaywalking thing, he was jaywalking, and then they had to get a bond, and then because there was a bench warrant out, and then, initially he had showed resistance to the people that was going to arrest him. But that's one thing that cops hate is when you do their jobs for them, which is so fucking stupid. That's so fucking dumb. If there's a bad fucking person fucking with people in the neighborhood and you had some private person stand up and do a legitimate police action and they stop the threat and they stop the fucking bullshit. Johnny Henlee shot the mass shooter. Kentucky Anonymous caught those rapists. Thunder saved his woman from somebody who had kept her in his house. Oh, you just want to help with some wood. Oops, now my truck is broken down. That's a hero. That's a good person. What if Thunder would have called the cops and they bungled it and dropped it and then pretended like it wasn't happening or it wasn't happening to the extent that he was saying it? Then the woman gets... Sometimes you have to stand up and do something right then and there. So I could see Robert Thrash going to effectuate the warrant, and then the guy starts resisting, or the guy, fires a shot or tries to swing a punch or something. What's he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? If the cops would have done their damn job and already had, the warrant effectuated, they would have gone to the residents first. And if the guy would have shot at them, but I think sometimes the guy will shoot at a private person's. So this is more reason for the cops to stand up. Do you have other warrants that are, outstanding? Go serve them. Go serve those warrants. That's your job. Go serve those warrants. Yeah, I know you want the mass shooter around there, but Johnny Henlee took care of the mass shooter. So we don't need you to, and Ricky Rodriguez took care of the mass shooter. So the situation is contained. Yeah, I know you weren't the hero this time. That guy did some crazy shit, He got down and dirty, and he stopped the fucking bad guys. He had scared you. You didn't know who it was. You were ready to do it. He jumped up first. Give credit where credit is due. They had courage. They stood up, and they stopped the fucking criminal. So it's totally stupid. It's totally goddamn stupid. One of the worst, most evil people ever is Gilles de Reyes. Whew. Gilles de Reyes. He totally... Joan of Arc is like one of the purest people ever. Joan of Arc just wanted to fight for the French people, and she knew her God was on her side. So she was a badass. Why? Because she wanted the French people to be safe. But then you're going to have this Gilles de Reyes piece of shit. He was right there with Joan of Arc, but then that motherfucker, he took his fame and fortune to a whole nother direction. Gilles de Reyes, he was a raping, thieving, pedophile, sodomite. He would take dozens and dozens of kids and do whatever. Rape, steal, murder, violence, torture, enslave. So if you're going to tell me that you got a bunch of hordes of Gilles de Reyes, say the Russians come in, you got a bunch of hordes of the Gilles de Reyes, we're invaded by North Korea. Hordes of raping, thieving sodomites going from apartment to apartment. Stealing, raping, murdering, and then you got some lowly David who stands up with his slingshot and he stops the bullshit and he stops the horse shit and he stops the evil and he stops the crimes and he stops the sadism and he slays the dragons for the people. You're going to tell me because you're a police officer and you want to be the hero, you're going to go after that lowly citizen, you're going to put King David in jail? King David, you should have called the police. You should have called the police when Goliath showed up there, King David. Jealousy's a motherfucker. Why did Cain kill Abel? Because he was jealous. God showed favor on Abel, but not Cain. Even though Cain had, fruits and vegetables, Abel had a sheep. So God was on some bullshit, but because both Cain and Abel were fighting for God's love, and God didn't show love to Cain, Cain hurt something that God loved, Abel. So you're going to sit there and be like, hey, David, I was supposed to save the day. I was supposed to be the hero. I'm the one with the badge and the guns. And then, when I called 911, I'm happy when anybody stands up to bullshit. A poor peasant nobody, a police officer, a judge, a rich person, I don't give a damn. Somebody's going around like a Gilles de Reyes, some evil motherfucker doing some evil shit. So the question you got to ask yourself with that Robert Thrash is, was it a legitimate police action? If you say yes, he wasn't over there to burglarize. He wasn't just trying to steal from dude. He wasn't over there to burglarize just to steal from dude. He wasn't trying to effectuate a warrant because he's got nothing else better to do. He was doing a police action. And as a bondsman, I think he's doing the police action of a bondsman. If you had a bond, and then you don't show up for jail, someone has to arrest you. You got a warrant out for your arrest, and I don't think any citizen can arrest you, but kind of if you have a warrant out for your arrest. So with Molley Henlee, she's treated like the hero that she's supposed to be treated as. But Robert Thrash is going to get murder charge and a burglary charge. For some reason, it kind of makes me think of Full House. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, they blinked. There was a scene where, oh my gosh, they blinked. And everybody freaked out. Oh, how adorable. Oh, she blinked. So all the accolades, all the celebration in the world. Meanwhile, you got Bob Saget, who is America's father for what? The 80s and 90s? He told some off-color joke one time, and then now he's just flushed down the shitter. I remember Miley Cyrus went on to The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon's, our nation's Johnny Carson. And then she was saying that because she's a woman, she still has power, more power over him. Why? Well, she has breasts. That's why. And I'm not saying this about a man or a woman thing. I'm just saying the fairness of the thing. If Robert Thrash is the police officer and he shows up to the scene and he gets shot, then he gets all the accolades and celebration that Molley Henlee got. And vice versa. Molley Henlee goes to the scene to effectuate a warrant, and then her partner gets shot, and she has to shoot dude. Does she get murder charges? Does she get burglary charges? So it's absolutely stupid when the police are jealous of somebody else doing their jobs. But I was supposed to be the police. I was supposed to do the investigation. I was supposed to want to do the chase and do the arrest and do the... But you didn't do it, did you? You didn't do it. Somebody else did. And you know what's good for the neighborhood? You know what's good for society? When you don't have Gillis Day race. When you don't have these hordes of raping, thieving, fucking pedophile sons of bitches running around. That's a better community. In 1984, they got him to say, torture her instead, hurt her instead. And he meant it. He ceased to love her. So if you twist somebody's arm and you say, I'll stop twisting your arm, as long as you say you don't love that person, tell me to do the pain to that person. So torture worked in 1984. And why do I mention 1984? Because that's when everything was so backwards. The totalitarian fascist machine was in control. And ultimately, it's stupid. Cops, you should not be jealous when other people do your jobs for them. You should be happy. How do you want society? You want us to have a civilization? Do you want there to be safety? Do you want there to be presence of justice in the neighborhood? Ultimately, for civilization, this is MLK 101, you got to have presence of justice in the neighborhood. That's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal. So when Johnny Hurley took down that mass shooter, when Kentucky Anonymous took down that rapist, or all those rapists, plural, or when Thunder went and saved that woman, those are good things. Yeah, the police officer could have been there and they could have done the heroic thing, but guess what? They did it. They did it first. The threat has been neutralized. They saved the woman. They saved the day. Now we say thank you. Who cares about your stupid petty jealousies? They stopped the damn bad guy going around. Johnny Hurley stopped the shooter, an active shooter. But the police were so damn jealous. They couldn't shoot at the damn shooter, but when the Savior got there, the second coming, huh? Jesus finally comes back, but these damn cops are jealous. Hey, I was supposed to be the Savior. I was supposed to be the Savior. I'm glad when the fucking piece of shit motherfuckers, the criminals, are brought to justice. And I don't care if you have a badge or a gun when you do it. People shouldn't go around hurting people, and if they do, then we need to be strong enough to put a stop to it. I'm kind of sick and tired when there is a courageous, poor peasant person. That means that poor peasant nobody. He doesn't have the ultimate state authority. He doesn't have the gun and the badge, but he still said, that's wrong, that's evil. And then people are going to be on the side of evil. They're going to be on the side of wickedness. You don't know right from wrong. You don't know what justice looks like. You don't know when a person is actually standing up and doing something good for others. What the fuck is the matter with you all?